This is The Wire for 2300 Zulu, February 19th, 2026. Precedence is routine. Information cutoff is 2200. Bottom line up front. Domestic terror attacks continue in the United States. Iranian drills continue in Strait of Hormuz. Vehicle explosion reported outside American Embassy in Armenia. Flashbang device deployed at polling place in North Carolina. Beginning with international events, in Armenia this afternoon an explosion involving a vehicle was reported outside the U.S. Embassy in Yerevan. As of this report, no details have clarified if the explosion was a deliberate VBIED attack or some other more benign incident. However, the investigation is ongoing. In the Middle East, the military drills in the Strait of Hormuz have continued as before, largely without incident. Several long-range missile launches have been conducted as part of the exercises, and maritime traffic through the strait has remained fairly steady, despite growing concerns among maritime shipping companies. Various European leaders have continued to express increasing urgency that their citizens should leave Iran as soon as possible, as evacuation will not be an option for much longer. Analysts comment. Concerning the logistics of Americans who may wish to evacuate Iranian territory before things get hot, air travel, even if it's available, is probably the least safe option at this point. Officially, the U.S. State Department recommends land border crossings with Armenia and Turkey. The Armenian border crossing in Agarak is still open, and this is by far the most reliable means of exiting the country, as a visa is not needed for American citizens fleeing Iran. The Turkish border crossings are more numerous, but coordination with the Turkish embassy is needed to obtain a visa before Americans will be allowed in. Concerning this morning's vehicle explosion in Armenia, it's likely that security measures will be enhanced for a while, so getting out sooner rather than later would be ideal for anyone still stuck in Iran. On the home front, in Florida, as nationwide walkout protests involving students continue, children continue to be hit by vehicles as they conduct anti-ICE protests on busy roadways. This morning, a student from Palm Beach Lakes Community High School in West Palm Beach was critically injured after stepping into the street during a protest. The condition of the student is not known at this time. In Idaho, early this morning, just after midnight, a vehicle ramming attack was reported at a medical facility in Meridian. Local authorities state that one assailant stole an ambulance from the bay at St. Luke's Meridian Medical Center, which he then used to ram into the Portico West Administration Building on the corner of Eagle and Franklin. After ramming through the plate glass entryway, the suspect then abandoned the ambulance and retrieved multiple cans of gasoline that he had cached in the nearby vegetation before the attack. After obtaining the gas cans, the suspect doused the building with the gasoline, but due to the rapid arrival of authorities, egressed from the scene before he was able to ignite the accelerant. The suspect remains at large, and locals are advised to contact authorities with any information that might assist the investigation. However, no physical description, clothing, or surveillance footage of the suspect has been provided at this time. Analysts comment. Considering the multiple weapons used during the attack, the gasoline, and the vehicle itself, this meets current criteria for being described as a complex coordinated attack, or CCA. As such, this incident is being treated as a deliberate terror attack while the investigation is ongoing. In North Carolina, yesterday evening, a possible explosive attack was conducted outside a polling place in Moore County. Aberdeen police state that a loud bang was heard yesterday evening outside the Parks and Rec building on Sand Hills Boulevard that was serving as an early voting site. Poll workers subsequently investigated the cause of the sound, which resulted in the discovery of a spent flashbang device, though whether or not the device was improvised or commercially produced was not disclosed. Police state that they think someone threw the device at the venue from a moving vehicle passing by on the highway outside the structure. Analyst comments for this wire. As most headlines remain focused on the Middle East, terrorism concerns remain paramount here at home. Attacks or incidents involving polling places are always noteworthy due to the political goals that are often the motivation for such activities. However, the North Carolina case is extra noteworthy due to the location of Aberdeen and Southern Pines in general being saturated with important people affiliated with the special warfare community. Whether it is mysterious Chechens sneaking through the woods or electrical substations being shot at in areas that are not easy to find, whenever current events start getting serious around the world, things in Moore County start getting weird. Regarding this case, commercial flashbang devices are not easy to obtain by the average civilian, and they're also not particularly easy to make either. If this had happened anywhere else and at any other time, most would probably chalk this up to kids playing pranks. But at the present time of palpably high tensions globally, there's probably more to the case than meets the eye. Similar story in Idaho, where very important context has been left out of much of the reporting surrounding the hospital attack. The exact building that was attacked this morning was rumored to contain workspaces that were leased to ICE. These rumors originated from a Wired article that was published last week, which identified a list of locations that were being used by Homeland Security and subsequently ICE. This report circulated among far-left terror cells in Boise last week, which is very likely why local authorities are tight-lipped regarding the suspect. They don't want to admit that far-left groups are continuing to conduct terror attacks at an increasing rate around the United States without any accountability whatsoever. More specific to this area, Boise PD does not have the resources to combat what has become a very serious domestic terrorism problem in their city over the past few months, and stirring up more activists turned terrorists is probably more than they want to handle at the moment. This concludes The Wire for 2300 Zulu, February 19th, 2026.